before he was conceived in the womb. How about for my first homily of 2023, I get into explaining the Council of Nicaea in 325 and the Council of Ephesus in 431. Does that sound an exciting way to you? An exciting way to start 2023? All right, what if I tried to explain why these two councils are important to you today? Is that okay? Let's work on this. Today, the Church honors Mary, the Blessed Virgin Mary, in her role as Mother of God. Mother of God. That's quite a title ascribed to her, isn't it? Mother of God. Now, before I go any further, let me state that Mary never grasped for attention. She never sought influence. She never sought attention. She focused solely on God's will for her life. She pondered. She held things in her heart. She must have had a beautiful, deeply nourishing interior life, of course, awash in grace. Mary, Mother of God, she didn't grasp as if plucking a fruit from a tree, but she received, she embraced, she accepted. So the title Mother of God has far more to do about who Jesus was rather than who Mary was. Now let me explain. The truth, and this goes back to the early councils, the truth that Jesus is fully God and fully man is, of course, a mystery. It's one of the great mysteries of the church, the mystery of the incarnation. And this mystery was hotly contested in the early centuries after Jesus' crucifixion and resurrection. In the Council of Nicaea in the early 4th century, this argument was settled by a creed that we still say regularly, the Nicene Creed, which tried to put words to this great mystery, Jesus as both God and man. So this is why these words will sound familiar to you, where it's written, God from God, light from light, true God from true God, begotten, not made. This is the council struggling with the radical nature of the incarnation. Who was this man, Jesus? It's too much for our heads to understand that God came in human form. So that's what this early council was all about. Now, when you come to accept as truth that Jesus is God, that poses another problem. And there were many, many arguments about this too. The argument, the side of the argument that lost was largely led by an archbishop called Nestorius. And he said it's okay to refer to Mary as Mother of Christ, but not Mother of God, to use these Greek words out there for those of you who enjoy this kind of stuff. He said Christotokos, so Christ-bearer, but not Theotokos, not God-bearer. It was a leap too far to say God-bearer. So that led to another council in 431, where they settled this conundrum. If Christ is God, then Mary is in fact the Mother of God. So this debate, we need to be clear here because it's really important for our spiritual formation. The debate focused far more on the nature of Jesus rather than the nature of Mary. So the doctrine of Mary, Mother of God, is less about Mary and more about her son, Jesus, our Redeemer, God who came into the world. The church is trying to put language to help us understand these great mysteries. So, the title, Mary, Mother of God, is the result of a definitive pronouncement on Jesus as God. Now, Mary doesn't grasp. She's not going for these titles, right? Mary doesn't grasp, she receives. Mary is the model disciple. She received, she didn't grasp over this stuff. And she pondered and she questioned these things in her heart. She didn't seek personal attention. She pondered this beautiful interior discipline of an interior life alive in grace. She just wanted to focus on doing God's will in her life. So what does the Blessed Virgin Mary mean for you? I hope in everything that I just said, what Mary wants is not for the light to be focused on her, but the light to be focused on her Son, Jesus. So what does the Blessed Virgin Mary mean for you? On this day, I thought about this yesterday, after the death of Pope Benedict XVI. I want to share a personal reflection that he wrote on what the Blessed Virgin Mary meant for him. Now, in this brief reflection, I want you to call to mind from John's Gospel the scene of the crucifixion, where Jesus is on the cross, and Mary and the beloved disciple, John, are at the foot of the cross. And Jesus says to John, "This is your mother, this is your son," okay? So keep that in mind as you listen to this beautiful reflection by the late Pope Benedict XVI. For me, Mary is an expression of the closeness of God. It's very moving that the Son of God has a human mother, and we are all entrusted to her care. The saying of Jesus on the cross, when he gives Mary to John as his mother, far transcends that moment and reaches right down through history. The older I am, the more the Mother of God is important to me and close to me. That's from Pope Benedict. Isn't it lovely to think of this dear old man in his waning days of life speaking with such intimacy about Mary? So why is Mary relevant to us today, and why is all of this stuff about these councils relevant today? Because she's the Mother of God. Jesus is God. And because as disciples of Christ, we ought to look for examples of discipleship, and there is no better example than Mary. So why don't we start 2023 by pondering the great mysteries of the faith, the great mysteries of our own lives, and you know what? The great mysteries of ourselves. We're a mystery even to ourselves. So let's stop grasping and cultivate the disciplines of receiving Jesus as Lord of our lives, just as Mary did. Amen.